chagrin when I go to my first piano lesson and I have all of that music in my head. And you gotta remember, I started playing piano when I was very old. I'm talking about the ripe old age of 8 years old, which in classical music is like over the hill. So by the time I get to my first lesson, I have all that classical music swimming in my head, and I thought that's how I was gonna sound after the first lesson. So imagine my disappointment when my first teacher broke out one of these red and white, awful beginner piano books. I sounded more like this. Wait for it. That was the first lesson. I was going crazy. I went home, learned the entire book, brought it back to my second lesson, and I said, Mr. Wise, we have got to move on. Please give me some new music. And he said, no, Jane, we must go one page at a time. And that torture went on for 8 or 9 months. And then unfortunately, Mr. Wise passed away. I don't know why you're laughing, it's very sad. But you know, if I'm keeping it real, I was just a little bit excited. I knew I was going to get a new piano teacher. So I go to my second teacher. This is Dr. Green, who's also a jazz musician and a gospel pianist. And I thought I was going to leave playing Chopin and blues chords. So imagine my disappointment when he broke out a level 2, green and white, John Thompson piano book. It sounds like this. I'm losing my mind at this point because I just want to play amazing classical music. So I go home, I learn the entire book, I bring it back to my second lesson with this guy, and I say, Dr. Green, you have got to let me play some real music. And he says, Jade, no, we've got to go one page at a time. And this torture went on for 5 or 6 months. And then he also died.
Get out.
So it's a little bit crazy now. I'm getting worried. My parents are wondering if their daughter is the Black Widow of piano students. And so here I am. I'm going to my third lesson, taking matters into my own hands now. This is Miss Kay Whitehead, my teacher, and I thought it would have been irresponsible of me not to tell her what had happened, you know, to the 2 teachers who came before her. So I went to that lesson, and I said, Miss Whitehead, I gotta let you know. My first 2 teachers insisted I play out of these John Thompson piano books, and they were dead within a year. She leaned over and she said, Jane, what would you like to play? Fine. And I said to her, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I want to play. I'm going to play for you one of the first pieces that I played that I knew this was what I was going to do. This is Rachmaninoff's C sharp minor prelude. everybody and their grandma was good. I'm sure you know nothing about what it's like to be in a slightly oversaturated, hyper-competitive field. So that was what classical music was for me. So in my world, in classical music, we have three different demographics. On the left, we have these annoying little child prodigies. You know, they're like 5 or 6 years old, but they play the same music you just heard me play, but they're just so much more adorable when they do it. And on this side, we have these old guys. I'm not talking about regular old, I'm talking about like 180 years old. These guys didn't just play Beethoven, they played golf with Beethoven. Those guys were over there and they wouldn't just die and get off the stage. And then in the middle there was me, an African American, female, classical concert pianist. And you're cheering and applauding, but you know, I come out and play these concerts where nobody else in the room even looked like me. Nobody was even close to the same age as I was. And I felt like in order to make it in my industry, all I needed to do was compete. And I don't know why I'm here. You're probably like not competitive at all, right? Not at all. But I remember I was so competitive, I would craft these, I call them samurai recitals, where I'd come out all serious because classical music was serious business, and I'd look at the audience, I'd never smile, and I would bow. Yes. And you would sit there, and you better be impressed whether you like it or not. Don't go to the bathroom, tap your toes, nod your head, can't even get up and use the bathroom. You just sit there and watch me be awesome. And that's what I did for the first year of my career, and can I just keep it real with you? Can I tell you that it was exhausting? It was so exhausting. Because I had built it up in my head that my purpose, you see, was to play this piano. One of the first things you're gonna have to do to begin to move more like a maverick is to really believe that it's time now to embrace endings. Because you're gonna have to get rid of some things that have been holding you back if you're serious and moving on. My teacher had to embrace some endings. She had to say, in front of me is this young pianist who I think is gonna do awesome things, but I'm gonna have to teach her differently than I taught all the others who came before me. I like to believe that that teacher looked at me and saw something different and decided to do something different. Truth is, she probably was just a little bit worried about her life expectancy. But either way, the principle still remains. You're gonna have to embrace these endings and really begin now to believe that something has to move on, and you're gonna start to look to get rid of everything that has ever held you back. But secondly, maybe this is the most important thing you'll hear me say today. You're gonna have to re-understand purpose. You see, I thought my purpose was to play the piano. So since I thought that was my purpose, my entire identity was caught up in how every concert played out. If I missed a note, if I had a memory slip, how I thought about myself went down the toilet. But with purpose, you're gonna start to understand something differently. In order to get through these samurai concerts I was telling you about, I started telling stories in between the music. And these audiences started falling in love with the stories. They'd say, oh my gosh, Jade, we love the Beethoven. But the story you told about the Beethoven, man, it reminds me of my grandma. And she used to make cookies to the Beethoven. And I'm thinking, cookies? Your grandma, did you not hear me play the heck out of that piano just now? And the next person would say, oh my gosh, this Chopin was amazing. But the stories you told about it, man, reminds me of my own creative side, how I haven't been being my most creative self. And can I tell you, they were telling me all this stuff, and I was offended. Because I had come there to impress them, and what they were saying was, Jade, we came for one thing, but we're getting more than we bargained. You're gonna have to understand that your purpose, it's not the thing that you do. Your purpose is what happens in others when you do what you do. You see, you, out of all my audiences, should get this the most. I want you to stop from here on out thinking of yourself simply as coaches. You're not physical trainers. You're not fitness specialists. I'm gonna tell you what you are. Do you want me to tell you what you are? start thinking of yourself now as transformation architects. Transformation architects. Let me tell you what you do. Because sometimes you're so busy doing what you do, you don't know what you do. When you open your mouth and speak, you begin to transform not just people's bodies, but you transform from the inside out. The words that come out of your mouth empower other people's ideas of who they believe themselves to be. When you speak, when you coach, when you train, you are literally building people who are going to impact in a larger way than they ever could have before they ran into the likes of you. Can I get an amen on that?
Amen!
You're gonna have to start prioritizing your purpose. The third thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna decide now that if you're gonna embrace endings, you must be changing into something. The little skill I like to call reinvention. I know that Beachbody understands what it's like to grow and to commit to growing all the time. Michael was telling me backstage that there used to be a time where you guys were just 200 people dancing in a parking lot. And now you're shutting down a whole street to get your groove on. My prediction is that in the next 10 years, whole cities are gonna have to take a vacation when you guys get to there. And it's not that they're coming to watch you do your thing, they're coming to be a part of what you do. Your theme this year, you belong here. But have you ever asked yourself, where is here? It's not just here meaning Beachbody. Here has to mean something that you're attached to, connected to, something that you believe in. I believe that you belong in a room full of world changers. You belong to be in this room full of transformation architects. So yes, you do belong here. And guess what? When you leave, here goes with you. Here goes with you. I want you to look at this idea of always reinventing. People say, Jake, you talk about change as if it's easy. I do believe change is easier than we make it. In order to change, you gotta start with something familiar. Here's a piece of music. I don't even have to tell you the name. I promise you have heard it before. It's one of the most familiar pieces in classical music. When you're pushing them to greatness, they're not going to take the journey with you until they trust you. Just ask Miss Danny, who I hear is a 10-star, diamond, platinum, gold, something or another. I hear this lady has done it in record time, but what she told me backstage is that first she had to connect to her audience, they had to trust her. Because when they trust you, then you can start to jazz things up a bit. You don't have to keep it the same flight of the bumblebee that everybody's expecting. You can change it up. Because now your audience knows you're going to take them somewhere they want to go. little bit of results, am I right? They want a lot of results. So when you're ready to push things, if they want a lot, you gotta give them a lot more of yourself. You know, you can't be in the business of transformation if you are not about the business of transformation. So when you reinvent for this next time, what you wanna do is not just reinvent, you wanna decide to be the remix. Can I keep it real with you one more time? Can I tell you that while a lot of classical pianists were dreaming about being Chopin and Beethoven, can I just tell you I was dreaming about being Missy Elliott? You know, how cool would it be to not just make beautiful classical music in my concerts, but what if I decided to just shake things up a little bit more? You know, here's the truth about